Hey y'all, I am Renee. This is Renee in Session, where every single day we are building a life that we want on purpose. And today's video is for the person that knows they're capable of more, but maybe their paycheck doesn't reflect it. Stop job hunting and start skill stacking. And what I mean is, I didn't get paid more money because I increased my skills or because I worked harder. I got paid more because I learned how to translate my skills into higher paying rooms. Now, I've spent 18 years in retail management in leadership, doing training, development, sales, you name it, onboarding, all the hats that one in retail typically wears. And I've been able to increase my income from 50,000 to 145,000 with bonus over a short period of time without extra training, without degrees, without going back to school to learn sales or anything like that. I'm in grad school right now for clinical mental health, so I'm doing a whole career pivot, but I want to walk you through what I've been able to do honestly within the past 4 years of my life prior to even making this pivot. So, training, enablement, sales, retail management, customer success, relationships, operations, leadership, and development, those all fall under the hats and the umbrella of somebody that is in retail management. And for a very long time, I felt a little ashamed of still being in retail. Most people started retail in high school to get them through college or get them in between jobs and moved on to their actual career. But I was the girl that stayed in it a little bit longer. I started my first retail job when I was 17. Shout out to those Hollister days, and kept going. And as I kept going, my tier of retail experience kept growing, right? It went from Hollister to Wet Seal to The Buckle to Bath and Body Works. It went eventually to Lululemon, to Warby Parker, to Nordstrom. And it just didn't stop until I finally decided I got to put in my hat and hang up my jersey. 18 years in the game, baby. But one of the most slept on careers is retail because of the way that your skills translate to so many different positions. It can be overlooked. We can overlook ourselves, right? Because we're in a field where we work crazy hours, we work holidays, we work weekends. We don't always have like the most fluid or flexible schedule that supports your needs. So, as you start to get into a more luxury or more tiered retail employer, which I had caught on to years ago, that's when my hours started to become more balanced and more manageable. That's when I started managing stores that were outlets or outdoor stores, and we would be closing by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And so I wasn't working until 9 or 10. And I started to become more strategic with how I applied for jobs and what type of jobs that I applied for or stores I was managing during my stint in retail. Now, my method here to translate my skills into other industries is what propelled my salary tremendously for these past 4 years. I took all the skills that I utilized in retail and learned how to translate them to outside industries to not only increase my income, but increase my value in the results that I could bring to the company and the level of leadership and experience that I could speak to that I could also bring to these roles. So when we think of training and enablement, it really means driving adoption, reducing friction, and improving performance. If you are someone that has done any form of a training in any form of trying to produce, obviously, results for a specific company, you have to look at what the nature of your role is and how that spans over to other positions in under other industries and what does that translate to within their industry. If we look at sales, right, we know retail has a lot of selling going on. Now, some people like to say, oh, the clothes sell themselves. At Lululemon today, they most likely probably do. But Lululemon, when I was there back in the day, no, honey. We were hustling on that sales floor. We knew how to work it. We knew how to increase the KPIs. We knew how to increase the value of the sale. We started learning our customers so well because I managed a smaller, more intimate store here in Michigan where it was community driven, which typically most of their locations are a community driven location. But if you're outside of the mall, you really get to feel the extent of community and activities and things like that that you're doing to be involved in and remain like their number one pick, right? So we had to really hustle and understand how to market to our community. And at the time, we were leading our own social media on Facebook, taking photos when new products came in, just really understanding like sales psychology and how to like speak to that type of mom, that type of business owner, that type of corporate person, that type of fitness lover or wellness lover that shopped at our store specifically. So when we think of sales, we're thinking revenue protection and revenue growth. How can I retain this account? How can I increase the ROI? How can I increase the value? What gap or area of opportunity do they have? Where are they growing? Where are they increasing, their numbers or expanding? How can I be top of mind with the expansion or the new office or the new area opening up so I can be the one that they think about and the one that they shop with in a sense where I can get that sale, I can increase the value, and I can show that skill translates from A to B. Cannot say that. Operations is implementation, being an ops leadership, which is highly valued, and this particular role is paid very well in the tech and health space. When you have that operational skill set and you know how to structure, organize, and put together different entities of the business, if you've done this in retail and led operations for like back of house, organization management, shipping organization, anything like that, you want to take into account the volume of what you're managing and what you're dealing with, right? Like how many units are coming in on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. How quick are you able to get those units out to the floor or get them produced and available and ready for people to purchase? And then figure out how to translate that operational skill to operations in like the tech space, operations in the health space. How can you take that same skill set, awareness, and speed, but apply it to a different industry and a different need? And then leadership and development, it's not just about being good with people, but it's knowing how to train and develop people and their performance in a way that creates and elevates and enhances the performance of the business. So it's how you know how to manage others in a way that drives results for the greater good of the business. When we did this in retail, of course, like the goal, whatever your daily target was, whatever your weekly target is, or your monthly target, obviously the goal is to hit targets and not just hit them, but exceed them, because you always want to do better this year than you did last year. So year over year revenue. But when we think about, okay, I have a team of 15 people. How am I making these 15 people great instead of me trying to do the jobs of 15 people on that floor or in that position? How am I training them and making those 15 individuals so great that it's on autopilot and they are producing the results that we need to produce in the business? They are able to spearhead and completely change the trajectory of where our KPIs, our metrics, and our numbers are headed for this year. They are able to lock in or obtain a really big account of high value for us that is going to be a win for our metrics and carry us through the rest of the year. How those people show up and do their jobs, their roles, and increase engagement pertains to your ability to lead them and develop them. So if you've ever led, trained, or managed anybody in like a retail setting, then you want to take and see how can I apply that to whatever it is that I'm applying for. And I know I keep saying retail and using that as my example because that is so much of my career background, between retail, tech, and then now pivoting into clinical mental health. But even if you remove retail out of your lingo and insert whatever your career background has been, you can still find referable, transferable understanding skills, awarenesses, like links together between what I'm sharing and what you're doing and or wherever you're trying to go. So pick industries that pay well, really well for these outcomes. And that is how you will exponentially, if not 3x or 2x, your income. When I went from $50,000 at my last retail position as a assistant store manager, those same skill sets transferred over into healthcare that then helped me like 2-3x my income significantly, including bonuses ending between 145 and 150 with my Valerie. Why can't I talk? I need more coffee. With my base salary and my bonuses, I took those same skill sets and applied them to a whole new industry in fintech at the time. And that was my unicorn job. I loved that job. I worked remotely from home. I got to meet with an amazing accounts. I managed over about 75 accounts in relationships, helped onboarding new material, help with execution of new plans and, operations expansion, different things like that. And it was amazing. And that was the eye opener that I needed to realize, hey, when you start with these top 5 skills, when you start understanding sales, when you understand the customer success plan, when you understand operations, if you have stepped into any form of leadership and development training and you continue to cultivate that, you understand what your leadership style is. You understand how to be a good, strong leader, no matter the container that you're put in. When you understand the gist of all of those things and you can produce solid, strong results, you can take that and apply that to many other areas and roles that will reflect your ability and your skills. So these are your next steps. I have a list of industries that pay well for those outcomes: tech, fintech, healthcare tech, SaaS software, insurance benefits, even HR tech, pharma, professional services and consulting, e-commerce, marketplaces, logistics, and cybersecurity are all some of the top paying industries where your skill sets can apply in that capacity. So your next steps, 3 simple moves that you can make to start preparing yourself for this shift or seeking out this shift is: 1, update your resume bullet points to reflect numbers, outcomes, impact that you've been able to produce. So an example of mine that I took from my personal resume with one of the positions that I had, I managed a $10 million portfolio with over 75 plus clinic partnerships and boosted their revenue by 15% within X amount of time. And I think that was honestly within 11 months. So that's one example of how you can sauce up your context in the results that you're able to get and actually show them with numbers the impact that you can create. One company I used for my resume services, shout out to Black on the Job. I've worked with them for 3 or 4 times now, maybe, with resume updates, cover letters, mock resume interviews when I was trying to get out of my previous industry and break into a new industry. They truly helped me understand the value of my skills and my abilities and helped me craft a resume where it translated over well. And I've used their services many times over. So definitely want to shout out to the ladies there. They're phenomenal and they provide really amazing customer experience. Then secondly, write your top 3 skills as outcomes. An example of this could be: I improved adoption or efficiency or retention by doing X, Y, and Z, and actually speak to the outcome. And of course, like I know, you can use a little chat GPT for this too if you need a little help with the direction of, increasing this area of your skill sets on your resume. And then lastly, apply to roles versus industries that pay for these outcomes. And I shared a couple industries with you, but look for job positions within those industries that then will reflect on your skill set and where your skill set transfers. And like I said, use a little bit of ChatGPT to help you with this too. If you are stumped or maybe you don't know where to start, right? A prompt could easily be like, review my resume, and based on my resume skill set, knowing that I want to make anywhere between $90 and $125,000, show me the best positions I can apply for that will translate to my resume skills. That's just off the dome. Or you can input something like, review my resume, my goal, and maybe and this is if maybe you have an idea of what career path you want to step into, or like, oh yeah, girl, I'm ready to be in tech. I'm ready. Review my resume based off of my skill set and experience. Provide me with the top 5 to 10 jobs in tech that I can apply for today that correlate with my experience, or whatever. So play around with Chat GPT to be able to, get the results that you want. All right, y'all. That is what I have for you today. That is how I went from 50,000 to 145,000, just using the skills that I already had available. So, shout out to all of those long retail nights, all of those Black Friday holidays, all of those 10, 11 p.m. closes, and all of the beautiful people that I have met, managed, and had the pleasure of working with along the journey. So if you are choosing yourself this year, subscribe to this channel, because this channel is your reminder and your roadmap. And I am here to hold you accountable. Until the next video, my friend, take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye.